What's up, everybody? We're back. I know we missed a couple of weeks. I can defend it. First of all, thanks for being back. Get the book, blah, blah, blah. You know the spiels. The links are below. We don't have time. We got 15 minutes. Greg and I squeezed this in. Here's what's going on. In my life, all good, by the way. In my life, things are taking off. I've got so many amazing things happening. It's all exciting. I have 40 messages I need to respond to right now. Like, things are taking off. And so, yay, awesome. I literally have not had time to sit down and just do an episode for you guys. On Greg's side, things are taking off, which is good for a lawyer, but may not be the best for the rest of the marketing industry. The FTC has been hyperactive, and they are asset freezing left and right. So I don't think I've seen them this active in the last 3-4 years that I've been tracking them. I haven't seen this level of asset freeze back to back. So for those of you who are convinced that Donald Trump is going to come in and delete the FTC and we can all go off and do whatever the hell we want, under the current administration, the pace of asset freezes has picked up. All right. And yes, I know Donald Trump got rid of or fired a couple of the commissioners and everyone's excited. Oh, the Democratic commissioners are gone. But as far as I understand, Greg, is always 3-2, right? So it's going to have to be replaced probably by 2 more Democratic commissioners, if I'm not mistaken. So
let's talk.
Yeah, Greg, take it away, man. What's going on? It's been
to explain to everybody what this is and what's going on. And I did some research while you were gone, Anik, on this. So I went back and I read a press release that Lena Khan, who was the former Federal Trade Commission director or commissioner over the consumer protection, she just was replaced by Andrew Ferguson in January when Trump took office. But in 2022, she made this statement. She came out and did a press release, and everybody can Google it. She was talking about the business opportunity rule and that she was complaining that the U.S. Supreme Court and AMG Capital Management had robbed the FTC of their greatest tool to go out and asset freeze companies. And she was pleading at the time in this press release to allow Congress and for there to be an amendment within the commission itself on the business opportunity rule to expand it to get a greater authority to do asset freezes. This is 2022. Well, they talked about it. And if you look back, we talked about this earlier, that in December, there was a press release. And Anik, you hit me up on it. You're like, what is this going on here? The FTC coming and saying that they were going to amend and broaden the business opportunity rule to include almost like any business consultation or conversation. So if you were talking to a client or a customer that had never been in that type of industry before, you would qualify as a business opportunity under the federal rule. Now, Ferguson and his partner in crime, Holyoke, who were both commissioners that were Republicans, came out like the day after and said, it's a lame duck policy. This is a Biden administration thing. We're not going to do it. Now he's commissioner. But here's the key. Since August of last year, there have been no less than 7 asset freezes based on the business opportunity rule. But Congress and the FTC never amended the business opportunity rule. They never amended it. What they've done is they've effectively just taken the existing business opportunity rule and convinced federal judges in 7 different jurisdictions to go into full asset freezes against companies based upon violations of what they call the business opportunity rule, or shortened as the BOR. And it hasn't been extended. It hasn't had additional, but here's the issue. None of these companies have the resources to fight them. They get the full asset freezes, so they don't have the resources necessary to go in and to really challenge the legitimacy of the business opportunity rule as it's been applied to them, which is scary. Now, there is kind of a pattern that you're going to see in all these cases. All the cases have some similarities. They either use the word automated, there's some sort of turnkey business, there's some sort of business in a box type representations. They're all business opportunity-ish, right? But there's no guarantee that the FTC is going to stay there. They've done that so far, but the rule is broad enough that it could go next level, which could be, hey, you're charging somebody $40,000 to learn how to invest in real estate, or $40,000 to invest in the stock market. Is that now, even though you're not using automated, you're not using turnkey, is that now extending across to allow them to come in? The most recent couple of cases had to do with scaling and for profit. It wasn't like a business opportunity where it was an Amazon, but it was like just for profit, which was the case that was brought out just this last week that you and I talked about. So those cases, though, and it's funny because I pulled up that recent case this week that I haven't had any contact with at all, and I read it. But the growth cave case, and then this case that came out this week in the last 2 weeks, it's all, scaling, and it's now gone from Amazon to scaling to for profit, whatever. And then they're going after and they're freezing assets. And so I just worry that the extension of the way that they're getting these asset freezes with the FTC in federal court is they're going to take a linear next step and a next step. And pretty soon it's going to spread. And we're going to be back where we were with Section 13B pre AMG capital management. Somebody's going to have the resources to go into court, which may eventually have to go to the US Supreme Court to show, because federal judges are willing to listen to federal attorneys and say this federal statute applies. And then when they get the asset freeze, you're dead. You don't have any authority.
So, okay, you have my attention on the scaling one. That's a little bit interesting because that's a big part of my messaging right now when I'm out there teaching marketing and I'm saying, hey, here's our expert model. Here's how to scale your expert business. I talk about kind of the different stuff. Now, we're not, now we have a service that we're launching where we'll help authors and experts write their book and get their low ticket funnels out there. But I mean, that's not like going to anyone who's not already in business and already has products and courses. But what part of scaling is creating the problem? Is it that the scaling stuff is being sold to newbies? Is it the fact that it's being sold as a guarantee? Like, dive into that a little bit more because that's new.
Earnings claims, earnings claims, earnings claims. If you look at the growth cave case and you look at what the advertisements on their scaling was, we're going to scale your business to make X amount of dollars per month, right?
So they're still using the word scaling.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's still a biz op, right? Because they might be taking someone who doesn't have a business to scale at all, and they're saying, we'll scale you to X amount, which is just, again, that's marketers trying to lawyers.
Yeah,
right?
what it is it's unfortunately I get it all the time, and there people will push back against me like, "Well, Greg, all I'm doing is trying to say that we're going to potentially do this for their business." And it's like, but you're not. If you look at the ads and you're showing people making $60,000 a month to scaling using your recommendation services, are you really just talking about hyperbole? Or are you talking about a real life example, which who knows is substantiated, disclosed, typical, all of that? And you know what? It's not any of that. And that's why testimonials are implied earnings claims, which leads into unsubstantiated and false earnings claims. And that's the number one cause of action in these cases.
So let's talk about this, everyone. So what you just heard from Greg doesn't have anything. It's not the word scaling that's bothering them. It's the fact that they're using these claims to do it. So like in my marketing, I want everyone to have hope from this, right? And it's like, there's this message that people have accepted and believed that non-hypey marketing doesn't work. I have an event that we're running at the end of April, Expert Summit, and its messaging is about scaling. You come there to learn my framework to scale an expert business, and not one damn case study, testimonial, result, nothing beyond me having one portion of the whole page that says, this is what I've factually attained and done in my career. And right underneath that says, this is purely for credibility. I actually go out of my way to say, like, you're not going to get these results because I've been doing this for 23 years, but just letting you know, this is how many leads I got. This is how much I've done. So you know that I'm credible. But every promotional piece I'm doing, I'm just talking about the framework. I'm literally just saying, hey, when you come to this event, we're going to teach you how acquisition funnels work, how book funnels work. We're going to teach you how Ascension works. We're going to teach you how traffic driving, how to use paid traffic to acquire customers. We're going to teach you how to use AI to help you automate some of the things in your business. Testimonials are like, hey, this event is amazing. I love it. This is great. And all of that's there. And we are selling out seats faster than I can keep up. I don't have enough time to respond to all the interest. And from what I take away from you, Greg, right now is I'm good. Like, as I'm not making, there isn't a dollar sign anywhere to be seen except for one time that's mine and that's fully substantiated and completely net impressioned. Like, there is no one who's walking on the street who would read that page and come back and be like, oh my God, if I go to this event, I'm going to make $100 million.
Right.
Like, it's just not going to happen. And so what I want everyone to take away from this is that, no, it does two things. One, stop using these claims, okay? And drastically reduce your risk of being hit. Drastically, because that's the number one thing that they're going for. Number two is you don't need it. You don't need it. I'm telling you, I was there 5 years ago. Had I heard myself talking now, I'd have laughed at myself and said, you idiot. How are people going to come to scale if they don't know that you've already teach so many people to scale, blah, blah, blah. They don't. When I show up and I do a promotional webinar with an affiliate who they already love and trust, and that person says, hey guys, Anik is amazing. His knowledge is amazing. He knows what he's talking about. Let's listen to him. And then I just pour out great knowledge content and I help them have this epiphany in their mind during that sales piece where they go, oh my God, this guy is really smart. Like, I can totally learn from him. This is good stuff. That's it. That's good enough. And what I'm finding, Greg, is that I just sent a voice note. I wish I could play it to one of my team members. And I said, but this is our 6th event. This is, in my opinion, the most compliant I could be. The best audience that I've had so far. I am pumped to talk to this audience because they've all come in. They're all active business owners. They're coming in with the right messaging, the right intentions, no hype, trust-based. It's amazing. So it's up to you guys. Look, if you're going to remain in that mindset and not listen to me, then you're going to be one of the people hitting me up at 12 at night saying, shit, dude, can you help? Like, my stuff just got frozen. And I know of people that are getting hit. Greg, you and I both know people right now getting hit who either you or I warned in the last few years. Literally, like, point blank, looked them in the face and said, hey, man.
Took the advice and they were like, okay. And then they just did what they were on.
And they didn't listen. I know multiple. Like, I can literally tell you guys, I know multiple people right now that are in hot water that I specifically spoke to and said, that right there, dude, cut it out. And that right there is now made it into the complaint letter. And so we're doing our best, guys, but you got to listen. You got to listen. So, okay, they're very active asset freezes. And I'll tell you guys right now, as horrible as my case was, as much PTSD as I have from my case, as much as it sucked.
Nothing like an asset freeze, bro.
It wasn't an asset freeze. And thank the Lord, thank God. If you get an asset freeze on you, I was telling Greg, I talked to someone last night and they were representing somebody who has an asset freeze and they were all hopped up. Oh no, we're going to fight it. We can win this thing. Like, we have all the proof, blah, blah, blah. And I just said one thing. I said, with what money are you going to fight this? You really need a pro bono attorney who's going to pour in $1 million to $2 million worth of legal services for free? Like, I don't know that person. So anyways, what else is going on in the good old land of FTC? I mean, they've been active, man. And are you seeing any other changes? Are you seeing them move in a particular direction more now that the new administration, or is it really just business as usual?
Well, I feel like they're going more on these asset freezes and less on CIDs lately. I feel like there's a couple of cases that have just been hanging around for CIDs for a while and they just haven't issued them, which is really unique. Where before they were more active, like with your case, there were a ton of CIDs that had been issued and very few asset freeze cases. So I feel like it's kind of switched. They're successful in this. Why would they do anything different? I mean, they're getting in there and they're getting freezes, and then it's like guys, everybody, they spend a year on these cases before they bring them, 6 months to a year. By the time you get notification, which is the day that you can't use your debit or credit card, the day that you get served by FedEx on the state that you've been sued, you got to scramble. You got 5 to 10 days to go into court to get that overturned. You go to an attorney, they have 10 days to try to respond versus a year for the FTC. You're behind the 8 ball from the beginning. Compliant marketing, good advertisements. Make sure your messages, what you're saying for the front end, meet the fulfillment. If they do this, you're in good shape. If they do this, you're going to get sued. That's just the way it is.
And I would say that it's so difficult in this market for you to actually make, because everyone believes their fulfillment is matching their marketing. So I don't even play that game when I'm teaching and I'm out there. I don't even bother because that's a subjective matter. I just look at the marketing, and the minute I see case studies, income testimonials, numbers, highlights of certain success of their own or of their students, the minute I see that, I say, cease, because this means you are out of compliance with them, and you are open, doors wide open. All right, listen, Greg, I know you have a webinar to get to, so here's what I'm going to tell everybody. Where we are, both Greg and I are in this interesting season of being very slammed, but we will continue to do our best. We might miss a podcast here or there. Just give us some grace. Right now, this was very important, and I got to give Greg his credit, because I almost skipped this again. Greg's like, no, we got to do this because of this public service announcement. This is a scary, scary flip. To go from CID to asset freeze is such a huge, huge shift that if you weren't taking us seriously before, now's the time. Greg, thank you. As always, to the rest of you, we'll be here. We'll continue to be here to scare the shit out of you as often as we can be, but to also bring hope and light. Like, I'm here. I'm still doing it, guys. It works.
Do it right. It works. It works.
I am the busiest right now, and I'm about to venture into the biggest business I've ever done. I'm going to be 10 times more successful because of it. It works. It's awesome. It's better. Adapt it. Open your mind. Let us help. And if you don't believe it, call me, man. Hit me up. I will help you. Like, this is a passion thing for me. All right, Greg, thank you. To the rest of you, get the book. Take it seriously.
Compliance
Summit. September 9th to 11th. The page will release very soon. It's beautiful. So please buy the ticket, if nothing else, because the sales page is so beautiful. It's coming out. We're already sponsors, man. I'm going to be sold out of sponsor spots in like the next 30 days. It's going to be the event of the year. Can you imagine? We're going to be in DC, Ritz-Carlton, talking about compliance. And I might be able to pull off something big, which is to actually have the FTC at the event to come speak.
Be great.
Fireside chat. So that's going to be fun. All right. Thanks, Greg. Thank you to everybody. We'll see you next week on the podcast. Love you guys. And make sure to leave a comment. And as we always say, if you want to be a giant, go compliant. Bye.